Welcome back to the league that means nothing on Go Again Gaming.
So hello and welcome back to Go Again Gaming. My name is Az, and we're going to be doing another League That Means Nothing game here today. It's going to be Cindra versus Gravy Bones, a matchup which is quite relevant right now. Cindra is very, very well tooled into Gravy Bones because of the fact that she can just extend a huge combat chain and not only threaten Gravy, but threaten all the allies that he's already summoned as well, right? So Gravy's going to have a hard time going into this. But we've got a Kiwi face-off, two New Zealanders, Ian Kenderdine versus Emmanuel Tozer. So let's get down to the table, but before we do, let's hear a message from one of our sponsors.
Tired of losing track of your resources floating? Frustrated because you forgot to take up your tunic again? Feeling like your stream games are inadequate because your viewers don't know how much damage the attacks are dealing? Well, look no further. Introducing Fab Dice. With these beautiful Fab Dice, you'll always be the ultra hip person that keeps track of their resources, picked up their tunic, and maintain their board state to the absolute T. Your stream viewers will be rejoicing because they can now keep track of the game thanks to the large and legible Fab Dice, and your channel will be the go-to channel when it comes to streaming Fab games. But wait, there's more! Our Fab Dice is not limited to resources, attack, and tunic counters. We also have Rune Chance, Steam Counter, Heavy Hitters Damage, Spectral Shield, Chi, and our new Arcane Damage Dice. Order your Fab Dice now at TieCards.shop. That's TieCards.shop. Say it with me, TieCards.shop. One more time for the memories, TieCards.shop. Purchasing these Fab Dice will not guarantee you to win every Fab game. It doesn't even guarantee you to win any Fab game. You might lose horribly because your opponent is Brody because he's everywhere, but at least you look majestic with these Fab Dice.
So here we go. We've got Emmanuel Tozer on the left and Ian Kenderdine obviously starting the game with a Tip the Barkeep to create a Gold Kiss rum token. Just an absolute staple in these pirate decks, allowing you to just put a Go Again enabler on layaway for later on. And obviously in Gravy Bones, of course, it's your blue chain starter. So we can see that going to the graveyard now. Yeah, just a great card, and one of the favourites here in the set. We are going to see the Compass of Sunken Depths activated here, so Ian can look at the top card of the deck. Of course, Compass does have a load of synergies with drawing cards through gold, looting effects through gravy, and things like draw, discard, all that good stuff, filling your graveyard. Having that information as to what's on top can really allow you to construct different play lines. But we are just seeing a Cutty Shark being established from hand here by Ian Kenderdine of LSS. And Ian is just explaining now, I imagine, what the Cutty Shark can do. And Cutty Shark, just pretty cool, allows you to give +1 to your next ally attack, but can obviously attack itself as well for 1 resource and tap. 4 life as well, so requires that breakpoint to kill. But we are seeing a dagger come in, which I assume is going to be at Ian's face. We've got a little bit of glare on that side of the table there, so apologies for that, but we know it's a dagger coming in. Yeah, looks like it is going straight at Ian's face here. And now we see the second one come in, so kunaiing very often. Looks like the Emmanuel's just errated the light source a little bit there to make it a little bit better. But yeah, kunai coming in for 1, and again going straight at Ian's face down to 38. Looks like we are going to be using that blood splattered vest, so whenever a dagger hits you can put a stain counter on it to gain a resource, and that's going to be used for a Demonstrate Devotion. Coming in for 4 with Go Again, and obviously creating that fealty token because of the amount of draconic chain links that Emmanuel controls. So 4 Go Again, which I assume is probably coming at the Cutty Shark. I could be wrong, but that is enough to get rid of that ally if Emmanuel chooses. We are going to Ancestral Empowerment. Of course, it is a ninja attack, it's Draconic Ninja, so we are going to be able to get +1 and draw a card, but we are seeing a Blood in the Water in response, discarding that Chum to get its full effect, to block for 6, so that is fully blocked. It looks like Emmanuel was going for Ian's face after all, but now choosing to flick the kunai at Ian in the response step. We do still have a follow-up after this. It's going to be a hot on the heels here. Just a 0 for 3 with go again. When it hits, mark them. Very, very good. We are seeing a block with a Murderous Rabble. Nice new blue block 3 card from High Seas. Great card, especially in Gravy Bones. A lot of synergies there. But we are going to be cracking a fealty to make this next attack Draconic, which is Art of the Dragon Scale. Wow. So when this attacks, if it's Draconic, when it hits, -1 counter on equipment they control. If it has 0 defense, destroy it. So this is perfect start for Emmanuel here, being able to potentially blow up the compass. Well, not potentially. It is going to blow up the compass, right? On an equipment they control. So yeah, the compass is just going to die. And Ian is going to be taking 5 to the face. This is a pretty impressive start from Emmanuel. Completely forgot that Ninja has access to that through Draconic. Obviously, you have to make it Draconic through fealty, but wow, Ninjas can destroy equipment. And let's be honest, it's not like Cindra needed extra tools against Gravy, but they do have the ability to blow up the compass as well. I thought that was just a Jarl thing, but it's definitely not. Completely forgot about the Art of the Dragon Scale. And that's going to really mess around with Ian's plans here. There's a lot of synergies that can obviously be established through looking at the top card of your deck before you do anything, before you make any decisions. So that is a really big loss on Ian's side there. But we are seeing an Anchor just being hard cast from Arsenal here, pitching that back alley break line. And that is, by the looks of it, pretty much it for Ian. Having to establish allies from hand with no go again just makes them ripe for murder by Cindra. As piloted by Emmanuel Tozer, rocking an Icelander playmat. And Ian, of course, you repping the new Wraith Order, which you think he's had that playmat for ages. But an amazing Draconic starter here, Oath of Loyalty, a 0 for 4 with go again. Can only be played if it's the first action, but of course that's just going to get rid of that Cutty Shark. And now all of Emmanuel's follow-ups do have to be Draconic. That is the rules on Oath of Loyalty. Emmanuel can only play Draconic actions this turn now, or Draconic cards, sorry. But a great chain starter, getting rid of that Cutty Shark, and now following in with that brand with Cinderclaw, which is going to make the next attack Draconic. So just a great hand here. Again, being able to get rid of all of Ian's allies and still have some more cards coming in at Ian's face now. The pressure is on. 4 go again with this Blaze Headlong. Blaze Hedgehog. And obviously we see Ian blocking with the Headstone and the Tip the Barkeep to cover this up here. We are going to be flicking in response. That's going to ping Ian for 1. Emmanuel is going to use Cindra's ability to re-equip the kunais. Making sure they're facing the right way. I would do the same, Emmanuel. I would do the same. Very OCD card player, me. But that's it. Arsenal pass. Emmanuel just on ally cleanup duty there, but also just flicking some true damage at Ian's face, something that he can't deal with, and re-establishing daggers on board with an arsenal is just setting up for absolute nonsense on the following turns. But Emmanuel just established that arsenal there, and now it's being threatened by one of the biggest cards of the set, Conqueror of the High Seas, only coming in for 7, but still threatening that breakpoint, threatening that arsenal that Emmanuel's just put in there. We've seen some ludicrous turns with this card, Conqueror of the High Seas. It can just be an absolute menace when you can get that High Tide active. 8 go again, destroy the arsenal. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Especially with the amount of blues that Gravy has access to, plus all of the floating resources that you can establish if you pitch into gold and all that good stuff. But Emmanuel is just going to take that damage after blocking with the Dragon Scaler Flight Path. We are going to be getting that gold from the Arsenal Destruction. So Gravy can now start looting to a certain degree. Can't see the top card of the deck. He's sort of sailing into the high seas, absolutely blind with no compass. Not where you want to be. That compass does so much for Gravy, but now Emmanuel is going to be starting with a Ravenous Rabble, revealing an Ignite on the top of the deck. So that is coming in for 4 with Go Again. No surprise there. Ravenous Rabble, an absolute classic of a card. Ian's just going to be taking that straight to the face, no blocks. Emmanuel still able to extend quite far, I imagine, in this turn. Having to pitch a red into that kunai. Coming in for 1. Looks like we are going to be drawing a gold-baited hook block there. The dagger just clashing against the golden hook. Now you're seeing a cut through come in. Now, this is just going to be coming in for that 3 because we haven't hit with the dagger this turn. So Ian is just going to take 3. Flick Knives in response to deal another damage to Ian. This is just relentless. And as we said very briefly at the top of the show, Cindra just has that aggressiveness to keep allies off the board and keep pressuring Ian, and finishing off the chain with a snatch is such a good chain ender. Ian just having to take the damage to stay in this game and try and just establish something or threaten something on the back end. But obviously we are going to be able to draw from snatch here and arsenaling that card for further assault and extension on the next turns is going to be hard for Gravy to keep up with now. But we'll see what Ian has cooking. Doesn't have the compass, but he does have another Conqueror. This is, again, is it coming in? This one's coming in for 8 by the looks of it, pitching a Saltwater Swell and a Portside Exchange. Sorry, a Loot the Hold. So this is coming in for 8 Go Again. On hit, destroy Arsenal. On hit, destroy Arsenal and get a gold. 2 floating. So there could be another follow-up after this, but we are going to be seeing a block from Loyalty Beyond the Grave, and Emmanuel is going to take the rest down to 29. Does Ian have a follow-up after this 8 Go Again? Does have a gold that you can pitch into to draw a card for free. So that could be something that you could do. It looks like that's what we're going to be doing here, potentially, as we gesture towards that gold. 2 resources floating is basically a free card, or we could use it for Gravy, which is what we're going to be doing here. Draw a card, then discard a card. And we've still got 2 floating, so we can still activate another gold if we choose. We're going to be getting rid of that Portside Exchange. Still got the 1 card in hand, 2 floating. Still got the action point available to us. It looks like we are going to be discarding... No, we are going to be discarding the Portside Exchange. I think Ian was just figuring out what card he wanted to discard there. 2 Gravy's ability, two in hand still. Sorry, 2 resources floating. It's just going to be used to establish a Cutty Shark. And that is the end of the turn. So Cutty Shark. We didn't play a blue that turn, did we? So we couldn't get the Go Again, unfortunately. But the compass has been destroyed anyway, isn't it? Yeah, that's not very good, is it? That's horrible. But we are starting with the Ignite here, which is a 2 attack Go Again. It's going to reduce the cost of Draconic attacks, which include the Kunais, which is a nice little synergy there. And Ian just having to take all of these little nicks to the face here, and blood runs deep coming in. It's going to cost nothing to do so. Going to be dealing some damage, getting some resources from the blood splattered vest. Emmanuel just going extremely wide, extremely aggressive, lots of pings, lots of little bits of damage that Ian has to deal with. And that's the problem about these tiny little pings of damage, is that they're just hard to block, aren't they? You don't want to be committing cards to these little one pings all the time. All this true damage that Cindra can represent. And when we say true damage, we mean little pieces of damage that you can't really interact with because you're getting the daggers thrown at you. You can't block them. They're just dealing damage to you. There's nothing you can do. But we are seeing the Sunken Treasure just turning the chum upside down to get a gold. Turning your own allies face down. That is not where you want to be. Finishing off with a Dragon Power coming in for 5. Oh, sorry, no, 2, because it's not Draconic. Dragon Power, just a awesome blue block 3, which can be 5 damage on the Chain Ender, which is pretty cool if it's Draconic. You're not getting fealty tokens too much as Cindra. There's a couple of like Draconic Go Again attacks which will create fealty on attack, but you don't really get them as much as if you're Fang. Fang and Fang. That's another round that I'm going to be commentating on this this round 3. But we are seeing a Call to the Grave here be established, getting Sawbones into the graveyard. So that is the blue starter that you need. However, the compass has been destroyed. So all of those regular play lines you have access to just not being available, which is horrible. But we are seeing the Dead Threads being able to get a resource off of the ally going into the bin this turn. Ian just thinking about how he wants to structure this turn now. It's so difficult when you don't have the compass. But we are going to see that Sawbones come out, which is the one that can prevent damage to your allies and yourself. But it just sucks because you can't, there's no follow-up. You have to establish these allies, but then have 0 follow-up with it. It's just a tough situation to be in because Cindra can just continuously clear those allies. Any value that you want to try and extract from them turn to turn is quelled by the insane output of Cindra here. It's like Dynasty Warriors. If anybody ever played Dynasty Warriors, it's one Cindra versus the whole army here, just absolutely rinsing through all of them, knife through butter, killing them all. Rising Resentment, taking out that Sawbones. And now the Kunai is coming in at the Cutty Shark, dealing 1 damage to it, and then following up with a Display Loyalty to finish it off, getting a fealty on the back end. As we were just discussing earlier, Cindra does have these Draconic attacks that will generate fealties, but we don't see them too much. But we are going to be getting the Mask now as well, which is pretty good. So obviously it's just 3rd hit. Not hits a hero. Which is pretty good. We are going to be cracking the fealty. What is going to be coming in here? It's going to be a Art of the Dragon Fire coming in for 7 damage. Basically, for 1 resource. Because obviously that fealty was cracked. So we are going to be able to turn on its effect. So 2 true damage that can't be interacted with, and then 5 physical coming through at Ian now. And this is just an absolute Draconic Hurricane as we react before that damage even goes through, dealing 1 through the flick knives. And Ian does have a response with the Blood on the Water, discarding that Rigor Mortis to block 6 on the Art of the Dragonfire. But this is really an uphill battle for Ian after losing that compass. Not being able to see what's in front of you in these dark and dingy, dead waters not being able to see what's in front of you is tough. But we are going to be using the headstone here to destroy the top card of our deck, which is a golden tipple. Now we're going to be able to use the Chart the High Seas, a very, very powerful card in Gravy. Allows you to do a lot of different things. Generate pitch, get things into the graveyard, get gold. It's just really just an absolute all-star. And this is the first time we've seen it. So it is going to be generating a resource for us, 3 resources for us. But we're not getting the gold, not getting any allies into the graveyard, unfortunately. So not the best Chart the High Seas play, unfortunately. We've seen that card do some horrendous things when all the modes are fulfilled, but we are seeing a Gravy activation. Draw and discard. Now we're discarding that chum, getting an ally into the graveyard, which means we can use Dead Threads if we want. We're seeing another Chart the High Seas, a double Chart the High Seas hand. What are we going to see this time? 2 back alley break lines. So we pitch one of them, right? And we discard the other one. So we are going to get another action point here. So we're now on 2 action points. We can establish the chum and then swing with it. So a little bit of a respite there for Ian, being able to do what the deck normally does through the use of back alley break line, but still all those hoops Ian had to jump through there just to be able to get an ally in and swing with it on the same turn is why you miss that compass. That is so rough. And now we're seeing that loyalty from Beyond the Grave trigger happen here as well. So I love this card so much. It allows you to block in these Draconic decks, and then suddenly, when you've got the required amount in your graveyard, you just draw a card. So it just allows you to rebuy those cards, or rebuy more of an offensive turn later on after having to block. So I think that's a really, really cool design space there in Loyalty from Beyond the Grave. It's a really, really cool pivot card later on in the game where you blocked with a few of them and then suddenly you get to draw a card at the start of your turn. It's pretty good. Because Draconic heroes need to block sometimes. And this is the perfect card to demonstrate why you should. Or maybe they don't. Maybe I'm just chatting garbage. But coming in with a kunai, it's going to be going in at Chum. So that is going to be Chum is going to be taking 1 damage here, and we can see Ian tapping the Chum, which means that Emmanuel does have to target that Chum. But we are seeing that blood splattered vest, just getting that resource. The kunai stabbing Chum again on the second attack. And it looks like we want to be taking that Chum out anyway. So this Fire Tenant is coming in for 3. With an Ancestral Empowerment. There we go. So we are going to be able to clear that Chum off the board and draw a card. I love Ancestral Empowerment. That obviously means we're going to get a mask as well. So drawing 2 cards off of that, basically. That is nice. Now we're seeing a Rising Resentment be played. So this is coming in for 3. With Go Again. Blocking with a Loot the Hold. Taking 1 from the Flick Knives, going down to 11. Does Emmanuel have anything else? Yep, of course, a Lava Burst coming in for 5 as a huge Chain Ender. Obviously, it can only be played at Chain Link 4 or higher. That's its downside, apparently. But a 0 for 5 is pretty strong. And Ian is going to be blocking that all out. And then Emmanuel's going to be buying back the kunai, or one of the kunais at least. Over to Ian, who's going to be activating Gravy to draw and discard a card. Not sure if there is a way back into this for Ian at the moment with that compass gone. And that was just a really good, yeah, just Arsenal pass. Wow. Emmanuel taking out that compass early on was a back-breaking scenario for this Gravy to find himself in. And we're starting off with an Ignite being blocked with the Golden Tipple cleanly. But of course, this Demonstrate Devotion coming in for 4 with Go Again, creating a fealty on the back end. Obviously, it costs nothing to play because of the Ignite. So a really, really good rate there. Obviously, Ignite just turning the next card into an above rate card, essentially, because it's a 0 for 4 with a fealty generation. And we are seeing a Fire Tenet come in for 3. The next attack is going to get +1. Ian taking that damage. We are seeing the fealty be cracked here for the Dragon Blood. Wow, okay. So this is coming in for 4 Go Again, and the next 3 cards are going to cost 1 less. We are going to see the Flick Knives deal 1 damage to Ian in the reaction step. But of course, because it is Draconic, we are going to be able to buy back the daggers. And then follow on with a Ravenous Rabble revealing an Art of the Dragon. Ian just taking the damage here. Nothing he can really do about it. And then playing another one. 0 for 4 Chain Ender. That is the game. Wow. Holy moly, moly, moly. Emmanuel ends that game on 28 life. And yeah, the obviously Cindra is hard for Gravy anyway, right? But the fact that Emmanuel blew up Ian's compass from the off just means that Ian was in the dark the whole time, having to just survive against the onslaught that Cindra can output anyway, let alone not having a torch in the dark, right? So sorry to see that, Ian. Commiserations. But well done to Emmanuel for winning this round 3. But hope you're all enjoying yourself here on The League That Means Nothing. It's a lot of work, so please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, doing all that good stuff, and even maybe, if you're so kind, donate to the league as well. There is a little QR code there. It is a lot of work. I want to thanks to all the sponsors as well that sponsor this. And I'm in my new place now. This is my new games room. You can't see all the games over there. It's out of the shot, but I'm finally settled in. So it's good stuff. But apart from that, we'll see you all over again very, very soon here on The League That Means Nothing. And have a great day. See you later.